Women who dedicated their lives to serving our country say the military ultimately failed them.
They are not only soldiers, they say they are victims of rape at Fort Campbell.
And they're telling our stories for the first time to our chief investigative reporter, Jeremy Finley.
They dreamed of a life in uniform, but say they now wear a mask of shame.
It's pretty demeaning. It makes me feel like I'm a joke. I mean, my safety isn't a concern.
Staff Sergeant Jamie Blankenbaker is one of 3 female soldiers coming forward to News 4 Investigates with what they say is an unspoken culture at Fort Campbell of punishment for reporting stalking and rapes.
I was blacklisted. All the work I had done to kind of earn my place in my platoon, all of that was gone.
It finally got to the point where I was actually just terrified that I was going to get killed.
Blankenbaker says when her staff sergeant began stalking her, ultimately breaking into her home, this is how her superior responded.
But he also asked me, what did you do to lead him on?
What's that like to have somebody ask you that question?
It makes me feel pretty worthless.
Blankenbaker says the Army's response was to send her on a mission with that same soldier.
And I told them, if you send me with him, he will rape me.
Blankenbaker says she counts herself fortunate. That soldier was later deemed unfit for the Army. But it's a different story for these women. They say they were raped by fellow soldiers on base.
He asked me if I felt like dying that day.
Is going to be something that affects me for the rest of my life. It is possibly going to affect me being able to have children.
But it's how they say the Army handled their claims that changed the course of their military careers. Blankenbaker, who is also a rape survivor, reported her stalking and went for help for PTSD and depression. As a result, she says she's being forced to medically retire this month.
I'm being separated against my will. It's per the medical advice.
This sergeant says after reporting being raped by 2 different soldiers, the military launched investigations. And in one case, her accused rapist remained in the platoon, and she was ordered not to return.
I was the one told to stay home. I was the one separated from everybody. You just feel like a piece of trash that the Army has thrown away.
Seeing what happened to these other women, this soldier never reported her rape.
It became more beneficial to me to look after myself and not put myself on a blacklist.
Is that the reality, that you simply feel like you can't risk coming forward?
Yeah.
These soldiers ultimately say if you report a rape, it's likely going to end your career in some way. And I wonder what you say to that.
That's a tough question to comment on, Jeremy.
Penny Geetson is the manager of Fort Campbell's program designed to help military rape victims.
All I can say is that when someone comes into our sharp office, we have so many victim advocates that are dedicated to assisting our soldiers.
Is there a protection in place to make sure that they won't be ostracized once they come forward?
Our command team takes any accusations of ostracism or retaliation, reprisal very seriously. And that is the first thing that we want to do, is address those fears.
Fears, these soldiers say, that became reality and are forcing them to ultimately leave the military.
I still haven't quite come to terms with it, because that's all I ever wanted.